You are Locked On Phillies Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This right here is Locked On Phillies Postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me for this post-game breakdown of the Phillies. What's the word? Absolutely choking against the New York Mets. It's just great to talk to you guys, and as we can all help each other through the therapy session that is going to be the next 30 minutes or so. The Phillies bats just decided to, well, after a 12 run output, they decided to die a miserable death. And now we all get to just hope they recover against the Cubs in a series that I really don't give a damn about. And then, hopefully beat up on the Nationals in a series where maybe some guys can pad their stats. Maybe Alec Bohm gets to 100 RBIs on the season. Maybe Nick Castellanos hits a couple out of the park. Hey, maybe Bryce Harper, maybe his elbow is magically cured. Maybe his wrist feels great after they go and play the Nationals, that'd be nice. But it doesn't matter. This became, and the Phillies have had plenty of these recently, but this became the biggest series of the season. You're lucky you clinched a playoff spot, so congratulations, something that we pretty much knew was going to happen. I kept faith that they were going to make the playoffs, and I think any rational thinking human being thought they'd at least make the playoffs, even during their horrible slump of the season. The Phillies did that. They couldn't win the division at Citi Field. The Mets accomplished a couple of goals here, and we'll get to that in a second when we get to our three big things, because I'm just so frustrated with just about everybody other than Zack Wheeler. So frustrated with it that I can't come up with three individual people. I got two that jump to mind, and then I got one very big thing, which is what went down in this series. But either way, welcome in to Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On Phillies Postcast. Thank you for making it your first listen every day and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode is brought to you by Booking.com. The right stay can make you feel and be a fan of any city, even your baseball's rival city. Book today at Booking.com. The official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. Three big things. Number one, how dare you, Philadelphia Phillies? How dare you? On a night where Zack Wheeler is still pitching not only for the hopes of clinching the NL East, the division, but still, if you're Zack Wheeler, you got to think that Chris Sale is going to get messed up in one of his possible last two starts of the season, that he's going to absolutely get destroyed in one of his last two starts of the season. And you're out there pitching your butt off tonight, and you go 7 2/3 against this Mets lineup, and there's going to be 7 innings, and you allow 2 runs and a Brandon Nimmo home run that barely cleared the wall in right field. Barely. How much barely did it clear the wall? Well, Nick Castellanos and the lack of ups that man has almost corralled that ball. That was maybe a foot. If it was 350, it probably would have fallen off the wall. But it hits just past the wall a little bit, and it's a home run for what was the game-winning home run, unfortunately. And if you're Zack Wheeler, you're pitching to clinch the NL East. If you're Zack Wheeler, you're going out there trying to get something going for yourself, and you get 7 innings of 2-run baseball going for yourself, and the bats help you nada. So Phillies, I'm not mad at Zack Wheeler, obviously. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to praise him for giving his team more than just a chance to win tonight. Should have won the game if the bats would have woken up at all. And here's the thing. Like a lot of times, like last night, I gave credit where credit was due. Sean and I went out there last night and was great against the Phillies. I even mentioned it on the postcast yesterday. I don't like to give credit where credit's due, but you got it. And he did a great job. He pounded the strike zone. You can criticize the Phillies at bats, and a lot of times that's legit. Last night, I didn't think it was legit. He threw pitches with great movement in the strike zone. The Phillies had to swing at him. Hat tip to him. But you're facing Tyler McGill tonight, who you ran up a pitch count in the first inning of 28 pitches. We'll get to that. That was your opportunity right there. That's when the Phillies needed to get a big hit. They got one hit. Alec Bohm came up with the Phillies' only RBI in the first inning, and then after that, they were shut down the rest of the way. 5 hits tonight by this Phillies offense. 4 hits last night. 9 hits in total. You're welcome. I did the math. Oh, my God. That is terrible for this highly paid Phillies offense. That, by the way, I found out tonight, Kyle Schwarber, I knew was a leader. I knew that. But side note, that was the greatest in-game interview I've ever seen in my life. That was fantastic. By the way, it's great to interview a designated hitter because, they're not still working when they get interviewed in a game, like a fielder, for instance. Drives me crazy that happens, but it's what they do. Fine. So you get Kyle Schwarber there in the batting cage, breaking down not only what McGill was doing at the time, but also what his guys are doing. So he's trying to help Bryce Harper. He's trying to help Nick Castellanos. He's trying to help Trey Turner and Bryson Stott. He's watching the game. He's breaking it down. He's staying loose in the cage. Love that. A lot of insightful stuff there. But even with that, I guess, second hitting coach in Kyle Schwarber, the Phillies had no answers tonight for this Phillies pitching. For this Mets pitching. No answers tonight. You get McGill on the ropes in the first inning, couldn't do anything much more than squeaking out that run that was just off the end of the bat of Alec Bohm into right field, just over a leaping polar bear at first base, and the Phillies get the first run and their only run of the game. So, number one, Zack Wheeler, applaud to you. Number two, Phillies offense, terrible. Bryce Harper in that first inning, I thought, had an opportunity to really make something happen. And here's what really pissed me off. In the first inning, you have one out. Kyle Schwarber was struck out on 3 pitches. Trey Turner comes up there, hits the single to left center field, almost a double, but they got to it fast, and they were able to knock that down and do it. Tyrone Taylor was in center field tonight for the Mets. He throws it in, gets to the ball great, throws it in, and Turner's held to a mere single, which is saying something for a guy of Turner's speed. Harper steps up there, works a 3-2 count. He strikes out looking at a pitch at the knees. You're looking the whole time. You're not expecting to swing, and you get a sinker at the knees. And granted, a lot of his pitches tonight, especially McGill, maybe not in the first inning, but later on, his pitches had great movement on him. And he watches that pitch at his knees. It's a strike. It was a clear-cut strike. Harper's got to at least take a swing at that and, I don't know, foul it away. Or, here's my favorite part, maybe a 2-run home run in that instance. If Bryce Harper puts a halfway decent swing on that 95-mile-per-hour sinker at the knees, that ball's out of here. Even Bryce Harper, not exactly being consistent in the power game nowadays. When it comes to hitting, getting doubles, he's certainly been doing that. Maybe he puts that one in a gap. But he took it the whole way. And that drove me bananas in this game tonight. So first inning, you don't get more damage. And whenever you're playing the Mets, whenever you're playing a team that is going to be going to the playoffs, and the Mets are going to the playoffs as far as I'm concerned, you got to take advantage of every opportunity that you get, regardless of who you're going up against. And the Phillies did not take advantage of every opportunity they got, even though it was limited opportunities. So the bats I look at as how dare you when it comes to Zack Wheeler's great performance tonight. Number one. So I go, Wheeler, congratulations on a great start. How dare you, Phillies bats. And number three, it is not lost on me at all. And you could say, you could be someone that doesn't believe in chemistry or bad juju. You could just make the obvious statement, oh, it only matters what you do on the field. Well, what happened on the field tonight was that the Phillies couldn't even work a split with the New York Metropolitans tonight. They couldn't even work a split with the New York Mets tonight. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Mets. Did Francisco Lindor, I don't know, have an incredible series? Oh, no, he didn't play, hon. Phillies choked this series away. I give a lot of credit to the Mets. Pitching, they did their job. But the opportunities that the Phillies had, they didn't capitalize. They didn't take any advantage of any mistake that the Mets got. And Mets got one great bounce in the 9th inning there. Bryson Stott trying to steal third base. The ball bounces off of second base, or excuse me, off of third base, goes up into the air. And when you're watching it on TV, you don't know if the ball's coming towards you or if it's trickling into left field. So at first I'm like, oh my God, Stott, run! You're getting a break. Finally, you're going to tie this game up too. No, it's in front of him. Damn it. Not even in front of him. It was like right next to him. Credit to Dusty Wathan. I didn't start to second guess what was going on until Dusty Wathan ran into the shot. And he was just like, stay there. And Bryson Stott stayed there. But all in all, Phillies, they allowed the New York Mets. Here's what drives me so crazy about this loss. Not even splitting the series and this loss in particular. Phillies have an opportunity to win the division on the Mets field. The Mets, no question, going into the series, said, not on our field, not on our turf. Wait to celebrate. They achieved not only making the Phillies wait, but they also achieved winning this series. If you're the New York Mets, hottest team in baseball over the last 25 games, I think it is, 26 games, you already have a feeling that you can hang with this Phillies team. And then you went out and proved it. Granted, on your field, good for you. And the Phillies are obviously they haven't been a good road team all year, but that's not an excuse. It's just an acknowledgement of the facts. And the Phillies go out there and they say, New York Mets, you want to feel like you could beat us? Now's the time. And for any Phillies fan, which I am, but any Phillies fan that wants to think that this doesn't mean anything we'll see in the playoffs, I think the Braves thought the same thing the last 2 years against the Phillies, and the Phillies put the Braves over their knee. So if any team should look at a wild card team saying, well, they could do something, it's the Phillies to anyone that's a wild card team, because the Phillies over the last 2 years have been that team. They've been about that. And now other teams are about that. And the Mets are certainly about that. And I heard a little dig as I was getting ready to just hit the go on the show here. Brandon Nimmo going out there and doing the post-game interview. And I think he was talking to Buster Olney, and he was talking about the home run. And he says, Buster Olney, hey, tell me the home run there off Zack Wheeler. He's like, Zack used to be here. And I knew that I could get this pitch and I'd drive it. And I'm like, does he just, I know he's not trying to take a shot, but that one stung a little bit. Because, Zack wants to show up teams that he once pitched for, even though, he took a good offer there from the Phillies, of course. Bottom line is he left the Mets. And he's pitched in a World Series. And he wasn't going to do that, obviously, if he stayed with the Mets. So anyway, that's what drove me crazy about tonight's loss. It allowed the New York Mets, which are now just one game worse than the Phillies. The Phillies in their 13 games this season, the Phillies were 7 wins to the Mets 6. Cool. We're all having fun. We're all having a good time, aren't we? Are we having a good time? I think we're having a good time. Yeah. Wonderful. Good. Great. Grand. You know what I thought of? You ever see the movie 8 Men Out? I know it's a million years old. A young, not like 80s heartthrob John Cusack or anything like that, and not say anything John Cusack, but a little later as Buck Weaver, right? Okay. There's a scene early in the movie with the Chicago Black Sox, okay? 8 Men Out, where they go into the dugout they go into the clubhouse after clinching the pennant, and they're like, all right, this is great. And then they're like, hey, Mr. Comiskey sends his regards. And they wheel out the champagne, and then they pop the corks, and it doesn't do anything. It just goes, not even, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're like, the champagne's flat. The Phillies champagne is getting flat when it comes to them clinching the division. They had a little sip. The other night when they clinched the playoff spot. But as far as the division goes, that champagne is getting pretty flat. We'll continue to break it down as we go on. We'll take a look at Bryce Harper, what we can expect from him in this Cubs series, as well as what's going on with the Washington Nationals after that. Phillies have 6 games left in the season, 3 at home, and then they go on down to D.C. to take on the Washington Nationals. This is Locked On Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And while I'm on that note, thanks again, everybody, for making Locked On Sports Philadelphia a 1,000-subscriber channel just starting a couple months back. Appreciate you guys doing that for us. It has been an absolute blast. No matter, I was just saying to somebody in the chat or in the comments recently after the show about enjoying the postcast, and I do thank you for enjoying it. Hopefully you do. But I try to have fun with you guys, try to keep it lighthearted. When I'm angry, but I also try to, have some fun. And you guys have absolutely been a blast to speak to and speak with in the chat, as well as we have done this Locked On Phillies postcast. We'll be back in a second. Oh, in the meantime, if you haven't liked and subscribed, you want to add to that total, be my guest and hit that notification button as well. I'll be back in a second. This is Locked On Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Boy, oh boy, how about the amazing people at Booking.com? Booking.com, yeah, absolutely fantastic. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball's rival. baseball team's rival. Book today at Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Explore the U.S. cities you've always secretly wanted to learn more about. I loved exploring Chicago thanks to Booking.com. Obviously, New York, Boston's fantastic, all courtesy of the great people at Booking.com with hotels, bed and breakfast, if that's your thing, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find the perfect stay, even in your baseball team's rival city. Maybe even during this postseason. Maybe it's time to taste test your baseball's competition when it comes to the stadium cuisine. Luckily, Booking.com, you can find the stadium stay that's just right for you. With Booking.com's wide variety of choices across the United States, you could go incognito, really, to any city, including your baseball's rival. Booking.com can help you book the stay that's close to your home team's rival stadium. No matter what team you are rooting for this postseason, Booking.com can make you a fan of any U.S. city. And how about this? I just used Booking.com to book a trip to Puerto Rico. That's right. Next Eagles long layoff. I have a nice break, 10 days. I'm going to go down for a nice long weekend down to Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico. And I'm going to stay down there. Looking forward to that. Thanks, Booking.com. From hotel stays that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts to cute bed and breakfast stays. You can do all that with Booking.com. Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rival. With Booking.com. Booking.yeah. How about FanDuel? How incredible is FanDuel? Hey, NFL fans. You can get the start for the season. You can get a great start to the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view play-by-play live, and so much more when you talk about the great people at FanDuel. You can also get in on the action when it comes to same page to place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet with FanDuel. How about these odds right now to win the World Series? The Dodgers going off right now coming into tonight at plus 330. Phillies at plus 410. Yankees plus 450. Houston Astros plus 750. Baltimore Orioles plus 1100. New York Mets. Oh, yeah, they're not even on here. All right, how about Monday Night Football tomorrow night? Jags taking on the Bills. Bills right now they're 5.5-point favorites, I should say, going up against the Jaguars at home in Buffalo. Check out FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com for these awesome odds and wagers at FanDuel.com, America's #1 sports book. Looking at Bryce Harper. If you saw the thumbnail for today's show on the YouTube channel, you see him with that wince on his face, like that scream on his face. He had another one tonight. And when I was critical of him not taking a hack at that 3-2 sinker that was at his knees in tonight's game, I am trying to really take into consideration his health while critiquing him. And those pitches that die on the outside corner of the plate, or those sliders that are thrown low and away from him that he might chase, and then you see him reel back and just try to shake out that arm because the elbow's hurting so much. The sinker at the knees in the first inning was not an example of that. And you know what else was not an example of that? In that eighth inning, he goes up and he faces Edwin Diaz, who, by the way, got called upon, and he did the job for a 6-out save. In that 8th inning, I thought if he gets through this 8th inning, it's over. He got through the heart of the heart of the Phillies lineup. Schwarber went down looking at a fastball in 3 pitches. Turner got up there. He got the single to center field, wound up on third base after stealing a couple bags. Really no contest. Harper went up there, and he tried to check his swing on a fastball. But in the first pitch of that at-bat, he got a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, I think it was, down the middle of the plate. Like center cut, what you dream about in that situation. Was there life on it? Yes, there was absolutely life on it. But Harper got a 98-mile-per-hour fastball right down the pike. And he swung right through it. He got another fastball up and away. He offered it that one. Then he took a ball way high, way away, fortunately. And then he got another fastball. That one almost in the same place, a little bit more inside, but still a ball. And he chased it. Simple as that. And I saw it with Schwarber. I saw it with Harper. I think I saw it with Castellanos in the ninth as well. But it is very difficult. Or not Castellanos. Was it Castellanos in the ninth? I think it was Castellanos in the ninth. Yeah, because Bohm made the last out. Where they try to, they got to get going with that 98-mile-per-hour pitch, and they don't know the location, but they got to get up. They got to gear up for it. And a lot of times they're guessing, and it's too late for them to realize that ball's out of the strike zone, and they just couldn't check the swing. Edwin Diaz tonight, and he's really done a great job with it. Credit to him for it. Just getting those guys to be anticipating that fastball in the zone, and then it tails out. There's not a lot you could do with that pitch. And the Phillies were fooled on it a couple of different times tonight. And it was there were a lot of things that were their Achilles heel in this particular game from an offensive standpoint, but that was certainly one of them. Bryce Harper is a guy that I'm still looking at. Other than injury, it comes down to production. One of the biggest series of the season. It became the biggest series of the season so that you could go out there and clinch it. The NL East, your first one since 2011. And it just didn't happen for the Phils. And the number one reason it didn't happen was because the offense let you down. We have watched it too many times in Philadelphia, whether it's Kyle Schwarber's time to go ice cold, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, whoever it might be going through the lineup. Time and time again, we have seen it, where they explode for 12 runs like game 2 in this series, and then can't do anything the rest of the way. That is what haunts every single Phillies fan when thinking about the postseason. That's what haunts our brains, our dreams. When we think about what this Phillies team can accomplish, you have confidence that the pitching is going to go out there and do their job. I know we can look at Zack Wheeler, or we can look at Aaron Nola and say, a little shaky, settled in his last time out there. Bounced back nicely, I'd certainly say. But then you look after that, you look at Christopher Sanchez, you can have a lot of confidence in. Ranger Suarez, you hope he's figuring it out. But the one thing that we all worry about is whether or not this lineup is going to hit. And I'll go back to this bag one more time, and hopefully we don't have to do this for a while. You think about the World Series against the Astros, game 3, 7 runs, hitting dingers. Game 4, bats go silent. How silent? No hit. That's how silent. So that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're losing sleep over. And then you see it again in this series in particular. 0 for 4 tonight for Bryce Harper. 0 for 4 again last night for Bryce Harper. The guy that's supposed to be the biggest of the big money guys not getting it done. And look, you could talk about health. You could talk about the elbow and the wrist and the wear and tear of how hard he usually plays, even though that's been suspect as of late when it comes to the lollygagging a little too often for a lot of us. That's the guy that has to make this lineup go. That's the guy that's got to come up with the clutch hits. Alec Bohm struggled tonight, but Alec Bohm still got you your only RBI. Trey Turner got you 2 hits tonight. If Harper's got to make it go. It can't just be, they got a leadoff home run from Kyle Schwarber. They're going to win this. Nope, didn't work in game 3 of this series. It's not going to work the rest of the way. Consistency is going to be key for this Phillies lineup. And thanks again, and I'll say it again, this Phillies team allowed the New York Mets to think going into the postseason, hey, we can hang with the Phils. Let's do what the Phillies have done to the Braves over the last 2 years. If you're a Mets fan, that's got to be what you're thinking right now. All right, we can beat the Phils. We didn't even have Lindor in this series. Also, for the record, Phillies fans, I do have to say this. I do like Pete Alonso. I'm a Pete Alonso fan. I like the guy. If he was wearing some other team's jersey, I'd like him a lot more. But what I'll say this, Mets fans, very nice for what you guys did with Pete Alonso tonight. Could be his last. Could be, probably not, but could be his last game at Citi Field as a member of the Mets. Good move by you guys. And I hope that's the last time ever I feel compelled to praise the New York Mets in any capacity, really. All right, when we come back, we'll take your comments on this, what you guys need to see from the Phillies going forward. This is Locked On Sports Philadelphia on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, Locked On Phillies Postcast. Prize Picks. Holy Stromboli, Prize Picks. I do love Prize Picks. Hope you guys are having a good time with Prize Picks because Prize Picks is a blast. Sometimes your team might lose, but you might win on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million members worldwide. That's right. That's Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Hopefully you did better than I did tonight. I went 1 for 1 on my 2 player stat projections. One, I said Zack Wheeler was going to get more than 7 strikeouts. He got 8. Hooray for me. But I also thought big series against the Mets. Try to split it with the Mets. You got to win this game against the Mets. ESPN, nationally televised game. Bryce Harper hits more. He gets more than 1 hit. 0 for 4. Womp, womp. So that sucks. Prize Picks puts their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, secure, and safe. When my picks hit, unlike tonight, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with real injury insurance policy. So let's say you have a lineup going for yourself. You stay in play even if your players get injured. If your player leaves in the first half of a football game, let's say it doesn't return, Prize Picks, with Prize Picks, you're still alive. So do yourself a favor. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB. And get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the 50 bonus bucks. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Let's get into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. Before I do that, there's a couple of people that knocked my pronunciation of some of your Mets players tonight. Mi scusi, lo siento. All right. I had somebody write the name Vientos twice, I think it was. And they're like, it's not pronounced Vientos, it's pronounced Vientos. Vientos. They spell it the same way. And I'm like, reading it doesn't help. like I know how it's pronounced. It's Vientos. There you go. All right. Luis Angel Acuna. Yeah. Little tilde. You're welcome. Who else? Winker, I believe is Winker, I think is how it's pronounced. Marte, obviously it's Marty. You ain't fooling me. Who else here? Taylor, it's actually Taylor, if you guys didn't know that. And Iglesias is Iglesia Noticias, I believe is how it's said. Hey, I think I nailed it. All right, chat. Let's see what you guys have going on tonight on this fine evening, despite the Phillies trying to ruin it. By the way, go Eagles. Go Birds. Go Birds, hon. Oh, Dan and Sue are in here. That's good. All right, Morgan, how you doing? Nice to see you. Embarrassing effort by our offense in support of Wheeler. Concur. Evelyn, you got it right, Morgan. What's the point of having guys in scoring position if there's no one who's going to score? Well, they're final for runners in scoring position, 1 for 9. Most of that came in the first inning. Oh, and then first inning and then the 8th inning as well. And 9th. Well, throughout the game, I think it's Evelyn says it's so frustrating. KGB officer Farzi, this team is pissing me off. The offense goes cold for 10 games, puts on 14 runs or something, and then goes cold again another 10 days. Wasting this effort from Wheeler is absolutely unacceptable. I agree, KGB officer. Dan and Sue Harris. Dan and Sue, I just want to let you know, whenever you guys comment together or whenever you're thinking, I just picture you two sitting around a keyboard, just being like, type that. Should we type this? It's a beautiful thing. I'm not knocking it. It's just how my idiot brain works. Michael, hello. But either way, hold on. Let me address your point. I'll leave it to the Phillies to ruin our would-be perfect Philly sports weekend. Dan, Sue, both yous guys, you're right. Michael Evans, hello. Pulling my hair out. So did I. Watching Harper strike out 3 times on the same pitch, up and away, and out of the zone. Yeah, it wasn't great. Well, the first one, 3 strikeouts. The first strikeout was looking at the sinker at his knees. That was bad. That was no bueno. John Marinelli, the Mets played playoff baseball, and the Phillies looked like they were in spring training. Fair. Christopher Michael, we aren't doing anything in the postseason. Okay. This has been a common comment throughout the last couple of days. We're not doing anything in the postseason. They're not doing anything in the postseason. They will, if we happen to get the Phillies, like being a win within a World Series berth like they were last year, like that, that's not nothing. Like that's a deep push into the playoffs. You know what I mean? That's good. But what was waiting for the Phillies at the end of the playoff run? What happened? Do you remember what happened? I remember what happened. I remember what happened. I'll tell you what happened. Here's what happened. Rob Thompson sucked. That's one thing. He was like, no, I'm totally going to trust Craig Kimbrell again. Why shouldn't I trust Craig Kimbrell again? He's totally going to be, oh, damn, we lost. All right, that's one thing. And then the other thing was the bats went silent. And this is my point. The Phillies are going to win the World Series if the bats are consistent. But, pitching in the playoffs is kind of tough. Phillies bats can go ice cold. You know what it is? For me, I think the biggest if that exists in sports right now, in the four major sports in the United States of America and Canada. Okay. Here's what it is. The biggest if in all the sports is if Joel Embiid stays healthy. If Joel Embiid stays healthy, the Sixers win the championship. That's it. Game over. No questions. It's not as big as that with Joel Embiid staying healthy, because you could certainly say about just about every team, like if they don't hit, they don't win. But if the Phillies don't hit, if the bats go quiet, you're done. Done. Because a bat's going quiet for the Phillies isn't like, oh, they only scored 3 runs. A bat's going quiet means there's 1 run, maybe 2. And you got to have aces dealing ace stuff. So to the comment of we're not doing anything in the postseason, yeah, I mean, it kind of is trending that way, looking at this offense. But if they figure it out, which, again, is a huge if, then, yeah, they could make some noise. They could certainly make some noise. And I do one thing, and this could be blind optimism, but the one thing I do look at with the Phillies as far as success in the postseason, and people are like, well, they won't have that chip on their shoulder that they had recently, going into the playoffs the last 2 years because they were a wild card the last 2 years. This year, division winner, not yet. As I said, the champagne's flat by now. And warm. The ice is melted. Anyway, the thing I look at with that is that this Phillies team, I don't think is going to lose that chip on their shoulder, regardless of being either the best team in baseball, which they're not. Dodgers take that over. Dodgers won today. I think they're going to keep on, regardless if they're number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever they could be. I don't think they're going to lose that chip. But that doesn't matter. I've seen them have that chip and still come up small when it comes to what the offense has failed to do in the postseason. Farsi can't bench the bar. Farsi, this Fightins baseball team is not a World Series contender. Certainly feels like it. Phillies K 12 times. Not great. Paige Matherson. Harper 0 for 4. Schwarber 0 for 4. Pitiful. Yep. Evelyn, Farsi's probably trying to calm himself down for the postcast. I would never try to calm myself down. I try to come to you guys raw. This will be the new name of the show. Postcast Raw. Farsi's head explodes. Julian C. $1 billion spent on this. Yeah. Storm 24. The Cubs. They have offense hit much better than the Phillies. Okay. Jordan, hello. Man on third. 2 innings in a row, and they knocked out one guy to get the big hit. Yep. This is literally starting to completely suck. And thank goodness the Eagles won. Thank you, Tim. I concur. Lisa Wicks, Eagles won. Cowboys lost. And I was hoping the Phillies would clinch the NL East today. And that made it a perfect sports weekend. Wah, wah. Thank you, Lisa. I'll read that appropriately. SNS, hello. Don't worry, Phillies have Walker pitching Tuesday. Is that supposed to do that? That's a Mets fan. What am I doing? Michael, hello. Wow. Why do you do nothing but cry about the Phillies didn't do as opposed to what the Mets did to them? We beat your best pitcher. We took okay. Michael D'Angelo. I gave credit to the Mets pitcher Sean Manaea last night. I gave credit to Edwin Diaz tonight. This is the name of here. I know it might be difficult for some people, but if you can read, you wrote, so I assume you can read. Phillies, Locked On Phillies postcast. His name is Locked On Sports Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Thank you for finding us. Appreciate it. I gave you credit. The reading thing, okay, I think you could do it. The listening part, might be a little difficult. Cody, what's happening? But either way, Michael, welcome in. Bienvenuto. Pray to God Phillies don't have to play the Mets in the playoffs. They will lose. Kind of feels like that about now. Oh, exceptional limit tyrant. Typical. They score all their runs in one game. Yep. Babs, hello. As far as the Phillies pointed to this Mets series as the playoffs, I think it was wrong to do that. Thompson is not a good manager. Playoffs are next week. How about that? They start next week. It's funny how that works. Rob Mars, Mets best record since June 1st. Just saying. Yeah, they're good. They're really good. They've been playing really good baseball. Nathaniel Isaac. Okay. I'm not a Mets fan or a Phillies fan, but the Mets could have beaten y'all in Philly if it wasn't for Lindor getting hurt. Very true. Very true. I think I got some of these already. Some of these look like they're familiar. BC, Philly teams, I expect to lose everything like they have for the last 40 years. Are you a Mets fan? 40 years? The Eagles won a Super Bowl like 7 years ago. Like that's not terrible. Miguel, hello. I see your Let's Go Mets. Don't feel like that right now. Yankees are second. Yep. Well, Phillies and Mets, I think, are both a game behind the Dodgers now. I think I have. Wait, do I have it? I think I have it. Just give me 1 second here. I'll pipe this up in 1 second. Bing, bang, boom. Here are your standings in all of baseball. Phillies and Yankees are 2 games up on the Dodgers for the second best record in baseball. Dodgers are the best team in baseball. Phillies and Yankees, a game behind them. Padres, 3 games out of first place in overall baseball. Braves 8 games out, and the Mets are sitting still 2 games above the Braves. The Braves did win today. So did the Dodgers. That's the way that one worked out. Good times. We're all having fun. We're all having a good time, aren't we? Let me get a couple more comments in here. Graham Babs. Hello, Babs. Farzi Thompson loves Orion a little too much. That'd be good for last night. Why are we still talking about Walker? Scheduled for Tuesday? Don't like that. Don't like that one bit. Wild card. Everybody's drunk right now. I'd love to be drunk right now. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia. That's Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Oh, Darkwing Duck was here. Flying out NOLA. Almost a perfect day. Oh, you're flying out of NOLA. Almost a perfect day minus the Phils. Yep, that's true. Christopher, Mets fan here. Quite a hell of a series. I was nervous coming in. You guys are something else. Well, you're something else, Christopher. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate having a level-headed conversation. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. Hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. That's like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Be back with you guys tomorrow when the Phillies, try to discover how to play baseball again. That'd be fun. Here's what it looks like. 6:40 start time tomorrow against the Chicago Cubs. Aaron Nola gets the start against Nate Peterson. Righty versus righty matchup. Peterson 2-2 on the season with a 2.71 ERA. Looks like a bit of a bullpen game for them guys. He'll be the opener going up against the Phils. So that's how that one works. 28-year-old right-handed pitcher out of Odessa, Florida. Aaron Nola, coming to you, 12-8 on the season, fresh off his start against the Milwaukee Brewers, where he went 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. It was a home run because, of course, it's Aaron Nola we're talking about. And that, unfortunately, was a 2-1 Phillies loss. Just like tonight, Phillies pitcher does great, and you lose. Good times. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hit like and subscribe and the notification button on Locked On Sports Philadelphia for your Locked On Phillies postcast. Once again, thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your night. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.